Hey, good evening, and welcome to our weekly show. We call it Three Broke Guys Handicapping, where we review one of the top racing cars from around the United States. We will select a four-race sequence from that track and attempt to come to a consensus on a pick four ticket. Thank you for joining us. Tonight, we're going to Louisiana for week number 9 of the racing season as we take another step on the road to the first Saturday in May. This week, it's the Fairgrounds in New Orleans. 6 stakes races overall on the card, and the pick four starts with race number 9 and finishes in race number 12. That includes 3 stakes races in the pick four on Saturday. My name is Rich Sharp, and each week I'll be joined by my friends and racing analyst Ray Torado. How are things looking in Staten Island, New York, my friend?
Very good. We got a little hint of spring today. 65 degrees. Very happy. And actually, I wish we were in Louisiana. Be nice over there.
Yeah, I bet you it would be nice in Louisiana, especially I know it's been a little bit chilly for my next guest and my friend Joe English. Joe, how are you doing over there in Temecula, California?
Happy Mardi Gras. Doing well. Thanks, guys. It's obviously been a little chilly. And actually, it's funny. I was listening to the radio this morning, listening to Steve Bick's show. And Acacia Courtney was one of his guests. And she was talking about the fact that it's going to be 90 degrees tomorrow in Florida, Gulfstream. So if we think 68 is warm, they got it up to another level or two. So 90 degrees in Florida. Other than that, everything's going well.
Just going to get me in trouble just by mentioning that name, Joe. All right.
Sorry. I'll try not to do it again.
So before I end up in marriage, let's move along to our weekly question. And, it seems that the universe of handicapping products available to the horse player has just, it's exploded in the last few years to the point that, frankly, I can't even really name or keep track of the number that are frequently or that are currently available for you. So now, like most, I'm a little bit older, so I grew up on the daily racing form. But I'd like to ask Joe and Ray, gentlemen, which handicapping tool and betting sites is your preferred tool of choice these days? What's your poison? And Ray, you can go ahead and go first.
Well, yeah, I mean, I did start out with the daily racing farm, and the buyer figures, they kind of overwhelmed me. Anybody did a great job with them. And, it was a nice tool and stuff. But I tell you, I got to thank you, Rich, because you introduced me to BizNet. And now I have, analysis throughout the race, early, late, and it's really helped out. And, the jockeys on one part and the trainers on one part. And it's really easy to read. And, once you get to it, and I like the comments, the positives on the left, the negatives on the right. And it's really good form. I tell you, I really like it. And I subscribe actually to Twin Spires just because of that, to get the free form if you play the cards, so I can make a few bets. But I use TVG for my main betting site. I like the layout. They have a nice mobile app, very user friendly, and we get promotions and points and free bets and win your money back. So yeah, I like TVG and BizNet right now. And it's really been helpful win some good money.
Kick it over to you, Joe. What's your take on the products?
Well, I'm a big formulator guy. I just love the interactivity and the ability to drill down and get to a lot more, user friendly. It's user friendly, and you can delve into some deep statistical analysis if you like that sort of thing. Sometimes I think it leads to paralysis by analysis, but I try not to use it as much as I really would like to be honest with you. If I didn't have a full-time job, I could be on that. I could be on Formulator for hours on end, just drilling down and finding things and finding nuggets. I use TVG as my only betting site right now. Basically, it's only for the Three Broke Guys. I kind of try to not maintain any account balances because I kind of want to have the money in my hands that I'm going to bet that day. This way I don't go out of my mind and try to, deposit money I don't really have or shouldn't have to spend. But basically, but I also like using video, and the formulator gives you that option. I also like to go for foreign horses, I like to go to racingpost.com. There are about 3 or 4 different sites with European racing, Racing Post, at the races, and there are a couple of others. So if I need to, especially when Breeders' Cup rolls around, I like to, to analyze the foreign form to actually get video on some of these horses' performances. So I actually like to use those websites as well. And YouTube actually has a lot of videos that you might not be able to get even through Racing Post and the other sites because they're a subscriber. Basically, you have to subscribe in order to be able to watch the video. So you can get a lot of that even on YouTube. So basically, the formulator is what I use most. I do like Briss. It offers some things that I wish the Daily Racing Form would offer, and I actually kind of want to see if Briss ever comes up with some kind of interactive form, sort of like Formulator does, because then I can't imagine the possibilities with those two, or if they even join forces, that would be fantastic. But like I said, I like the Formulator best. I use the BrissNet, and I like watching video or races. So TVG has some, Racing Post, and the Formulator has video for all the races, all the charts that they offer as well.
Excellent. All right, thanks, guys. All right. Last week was Laurel Park, and unfortunately we missed on what turned out to be a rather nice pick 4 score for the horse players in Maryland. The pick 4 paid in excess of $800 last week. We only gave you 2 out of 4 winners last week, and that performance drops us on our hit percentage just back to 56% on the season. Time for a brief weather update from New Orleans, Louisiana. The forecast for Saturday calls for mainly sunny. The high is 67 degrees. The winds are at 10 to 20 miles an hour. And most important, there is a 0% chance of rain in the forecast. A total of 12 races, 6 stakes on tap for Saturday. For today, we are focused on the pick 4, beginning in race number 9 and concluding in race number 12. Gentlemen, the gates are locked and loaded. The outriders are clear, and the starter is ready to pop the gate. It's pick 4 post time.
Let's go.
Push the button.
All right, race number 9. Approximate post time is 5:06 p.m. Eastern. A mile and a 16th. This is the Rachel Alexandria Stakes. It's a grade 2. The purse is $200,000 for fillies, 3-year-olds. 8 starters, and your morning line favorite at 8 to 5 is in post number 4. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing this correctly. Valadorna for trainer Mark Cassie and ridden by Julian Leparoux. Joe, in my book, she's right up there with Zenyatta and the Just Retired Beholder. You were up first, and who do you like in the Rachel Alexandria?
Well, actually, Rich, unfortunately, I fell on the favorite here, at least the morning line favorite. Whether she goes favorite or not remains to be seen. I like Valadorna. I like Cassie and Leparoux as a team. Obviously, the Connections knew she had talent because they tipped their hand when basically she went from a dominant maiden score straight into the Breeders' Cup juvenile filly race, which is a grade 1, shipping across country. And actually, in that last race, I got a chance to watch it, trailed behind a lonely leader last time in that last race, and she looked beat at the top of the stretch, and yet actually Leparoux angled her out. She came running, and she got up at the nick of time. And I'm thinking she didn't really run that much that day, maybe the last 4 furlongs. Otherwise, she was galloping. So basically, I think she's got more room for improvement. She ran down a pretty good horse in what. She's got 4 in the exacta finishes over 4 different racetracks. But she's training at Fairgrounds now. She won the optional claimer last time out. She's got 2 drills since. Solid drills, and like I said, the combination of Cassie and Leparoux is a good thing. So I'm going with the favorite there. But I also, on my top line, I would have to add the winner of the Silver Bullet Day, and that's Farrell for Wade Catalano and Channing Hill, and she's the 5-2 second choice.
Joe, let me interrupt you for 1 second there. Go ahead and hand it over when you get done with your analysis. Hand it over to Ray. I need to step away from my desk for just 1 second. It sounds like I might have someone at my door, so go ahead, Kenneth.
No problem. Sure, I'll continue to go. So Farrell is my second choice, and definitely another on the top line. Broke through in a maiden race, jumped right into Stakes Company. She dominated the Goldenrod at Churchill Downs in her 2-turn debut on a fast track. And then she sat a really nice trip in the mud on a new surface, beating 3 horses that ran in this race, which tells me the horse ran 2 turns and has run 2 turns twice over a muddy track, a fast track, Churchill Downs, Fairgrounds. So basically, I don't think she needs to bring her surface with her. She'll run wherever they need to have her run, and I think she's going to fit nicely in here. She doesn't necessarily need the lead, even though she did dominate the Goldenrod on the lead. She sat off Grease last time out and drew away. Again, 2 solid drills since, And I think she should get a similar trip. I don't think there's a lot of speed in this race. I think she'll probably sit second. And I think she's going to be one that Valadorn is going to have to run down late. So on my top line, I went with 5 Valadorn as my top choice and Farrell, the number 2, as my second choice. I will mention more horses that I would use in my personal pick for later, but for our purposes, it's the 5 and the 2. And now, Ray, what do you think of the field in the Rachel Alexandra? Do you think this is a solid field? Do you think do you think the Kentucky Oaks winner could possibly be in the spot?
Yeah, very possible. It's a very even field. There's some good speed and some horses come off the pace. I did land on the number 3, Shane's Girlfriend. She had a big win in the Delta Princess. She exploded on the second turn. So such early in her career. Unfortunately, last time she ran into Unique Bella in the sprint, and she was part of the hot pace, and just too much to handle. I had to question Pratt for staying at Santina, but I don't see why he would stay. The card was average when I looked at it. But you do get Super Mario and O'Neill, so that's a good combination. I think she went well here. I do like your horse Farrell, number 2. It had a nice win in Silver Bullet Day. One of my favorite horses, actually, on the muddy track. Um, she has the speed to get a nice trip there, be in position. She's 3 out of 5 with China Hill, and she'll definitely improve off the layoff. So and she's a great 2 winner, Golden Rod, like you said. I did like Valador. The closing style might hurt her a little bit, but if she's talented, she'll overcome that. So, because speed types, I see, they 70% they win on speed types on this course at this distance. Stablemates, well, she's with Rachel Alexandra, Stone Street Stable, so that'd be a nice one for the home, for these for for Stone Street. She was 3/4 of a length from a Breeders' Cup Juvenile Phillies win, so she was coming, just missed. She'll definitely better for a speed meltdown. So that would be my horses for our pick 4. I have a few other horses I can mention later on. Rich, if you're there, what do you think of Rachel Alexandra?
I am back. I'm back, and
Okay.
In one of those man bites dog moments,
Was that
it appears
Amazon?
that, it appears if I'm not mistaken here, Ray's top pick was the 3, Shane's Girlfriend.
Yes.
So Ray is on my California connections, which is Doug O'Neill and Mario Gutierrez, a very solid Santa Anita connection, as you see down here. I mean, the horse did win at Delaware Downs in between, things like that. And here I am, and I'm on the solid East Coast connections, which is Valadorna. That's where my check mark ends up. The Churchill Downs, Keaton. She did show up. She showed her face at one point in time on Breeders' Cup Juvenile Day when I was out of it and things like that. So I did see her run that day. But other than that, this has been mainly an East Coast horse. As Joe alluded to, she did not get much of a pace to run into, and yet was still able to run down the winner. It was only a 5-horse race on top of that. Every other time, she's been within a length of winning. And so I ended up settling on her. I've become more of a Mark Casse, Julien Leparoux fan here in this period of time where I'm handicapping so much over at Gulfstream Park. So I did have the 5 on top. I backed it up as I already heard. I will tell you before I settle on this, and for anybody who's got that, this check mark here, just so everybody knows, and you can watch it happen, it can move. Okay, so it can move, and just so you guys know, not only can it move, it does move. And in this race, it moved like 3 or 4 times. So there's another California horse. Don't forget the DeSormo brothers have one that's in here. Don't ever ignore the DeSormo brothers, especially they're getting 21 on the morning line. I like Shane's Girlfriend at one point in time. I mean, after all, the horse's only loss is to Unique Bella. The question I heard was asked a little bit earlier was, do you think the Kentucky Oaks winner is going to be in this race? I do not think the Kentucky Oaks winner is going to be in this race, but I do think this is a nice field of fillies. And the check mark actually was up on Farrell at one point in time as well. So I was all over the place. So I ended up using Farrell as well. I've got the 5 and the 2 on the top line, and I've got the 3 like really close. So like B plus, not just a B, but a B plus would be my rating on that one. So, but I did just go 5-2 on my top line. I've got Ray with 3-2, and I've got Joe with 5-2.
My check might be moving throughout the race, so at the end.
Yeah, no kidding. That was a tough race. Like I said, there's a reason that check mark can move, and as I said,
Yeah.
it doesn't necessarily stay locked in place. And in this particular case, I was moving around quite a bit. So, all
Yeah.
right, I believe we are moving on to race number 10, and that is going a mile and an eighth. We're going 9 furlongs on the turf. This is the Fairgrounds Handicap. It's a grade 3. The purse is $125,000 for 4-year-olds and upward. 9 starters, and your morning line favorite is in post number 5, Granny's Kitten, trained by Mike Maker and ridden by Miguel Mena, comes in as your 3-1 morning line favorite. Ray, we often talk about not splitting entries when you have a top-level trainer. Mike Maker has 4 entries in this one, including the favorite. Has he got it covered? And more importantly, do we?
Well, yeah, 4 of them. I mean, it's possible I could use all 4. uh, maybe 3 out of 4. It depends. Yes, guess who we have here? We have, again, our favorite owners here, Kenneth and Sarah Ramsey. Oscar nominated, number 9. You gotta respect the Ramseys, like we always say. The distance should suit him, and I like the fact that Florian Drew stays aboard, and he'll get a nice outside trip post 9. You know, hasn't won in a while since I think we had him in that Kentucky Downs um, that day we had him. So we also have number 5, Granny's Kitten. Like you say, don't split the aces. Ramsey Barn, don't at the poker table, the blackjack, don't split them. Uh, he'll also love the distance. He won the Grade 3 Bradley on the course, although the course was a little soft, so I don't think he got go soft course tomorrow. But his horse is a hard knocking horse. You know, he's 6'18". You know, 1 for 2 at the fairgrounds, and also gonna get a good outside trip. So those two will be battling late in the race. I do like number 8, Western Reserve. He's been running well his last 2 on the fairgrounds course. I like Bridgman on this spot, and Brad Cox is a high percentage trainer there around that circuit. He's a 26-28%, and he's gonna get some action. 13 for 16 in the money, so this horse will be in the race. So these turf races depend on the trip. Whether you get a clean trip, that's gonna be the difference between winning and placing and showing. So, but those are my horses I like in the fairgrounds: the 9, the 5, and the 8. And Joe, do you have anybody else here on any speed horses? I haven't seen any who can go out there and wire the field.
Well, to be honest, Mike Maker has 4 in the spot, and I'm not going to say I don't like any of them because I do like one of them, but I'm actually against him in on all of these spots today. Well, in this race anyway. I can come up with a single here, at least for me personally, and for us, for our show. I love the 8. I love Western Reserve. If you look at that race 2 back, he sat off the speed, got the lead, and I had a chance to watch both of the last 2 races that he's run. When he saw Granny's Kitten, unfortunately, Greengrass from Wyoming came too late and actually beat Granny's and touched Granny's Kitten for second. He had a chance, and he saw Granny's Kitten that day, and he repelled Granny's Kitten. He was good enough to beat him on a firm turf course that day, going a mile and a 16th. Last time out in the race in the Colonel Bradley, Chocolate Ride, who should probably be in this spot but isn't, was in between, and I don't think that Western Reserve had a chance to see Granny's Kitten coming until it was too late. And Granny's Kitten actually had got by him. Western Reserve fought back and actually had a chance to come back and beat him. Granny's Kitten beat him on the square, but don't get me wrong. But I don't see a lot of speed in this race. I think maybe it's 2 horses on the front end, and it's the 6 Enterprising, who might be in front, figuring he's got the inside draw. Maybe he'll be in front of Western Reserve, but Western Reserve showed that he could be on the lead himself. I like that he's done well over this track in his only two races. He's getting 2 extra pounds from Granny's Kitten today. Some people think that makes a difference. I think he's going to get a great trip again. He's going to sit right outside. Hopefully, I'm assuming the strategy is to sit right outside Enterprising, pounce and hold off the the closers, Granny's Kitten and Greengrass, Wyoming, and this is his third start in the cycle, and he's got two maintenance drills in between. So I'd be single in the 8 here. So I'm on Western Reserve for the Cox Bridge Mahan combo. So just give me the 8 at 7-2 on the morning line. I would take that all day long. Rich, what do you think of? Obviously, Mike Maker has 4, and I'm assuming we can't use all 4 in our ticket, can we?
We've done it in the past. It's not unheard of for us, but no, for myself, let's see. I ended up, and I actually ended up going in the exact same direction that Ray did. So I've got Oscar nominated. It's Mike Maker with Kenneth Ramsey, and then I've got the 5, which is Granny's Kitten, which is Mike Maker with Kenneth and Sarah Ramsey. So I figured, Kenneth and Sarah Ramsey and Mike Maker, Kenneth and Sarah Ramsey and Mike Maker. I talk about not splitting kings at the blackjack table, just to be like, breaking up my straight flush here. So I decided to use them both. I went with the 9 and the 5. I actually liked the 8. I thought the 8 was worthy as well. Sean Bridgman and Brad Cox. So I went the same way that Ray did here, and I used all 3. So I went 9, 5, 8 on my personal ticket. If I had to only use the 2, then I wouldn't split the makers, and I would keep the 9 and the 5 with the Kenneth Sarah Ramsey on top. Although I do like Joe's logic there, and I'll have to watch the races again tomorrow morning. Just to see what I like. I've told the fans before this. A lot of times I have a tendency to do my video reviews on the morning of. I'm a Twin Spires account holder as well. They make it nice and easy on those days. So, all right. So I've got 958. Ray's got 958. Joe's just got 8, and we are coming back, and we're going to be moving on to race number 11. All righty. And this is our feature. It's race number 11. It's a mile and a 16th. The Risen Star Stakes, Grade 2. Purse is $400,000 for 3-year-olds. 50 Kentucky Derby points to the winner. 14 starters, and your morning line favorite starts from post number 9. Motown, trained by Anthony Dutrow and ridden by John Velasquez, is 7-2 on the Fairgrounds morning line. Joe, you are up first on the feature. This is the first of the domestic 50-point Derby races. And this is the first race for 3-year-olds on the path to the Louisiana Derby. Who do you like in the feature?
Maybe it's just I'm in this kind of mood. I'm singling again, and I'm going to go with the horse that just ended up winning the Lecomte Guest Suite, the 6 at 6-1. I'm getting 6-1 on the morning line on the Lecomte winner. Third behind McCracken in his stakes debut last fall. Followed that up with a nice score in a non-winners of 1 race. Returned in the Lecomte, new surface, muddy surface. So again, just like I mentioned with Farrell, winning, going 1 turn at Churchill Downs, winning 2 turns, going in the mud at the Fairgrounds. It doesn't seem like this horse needs to bring he can run on anything. It doesn't make any difference. He's also 2 for 2 around 2 turns. He broke his maiden at Keeneland around 2 turns, and then of course the Lecomte win at Fairgrounds. So he's undefeated around 2 turns. He's got 2 billet drills since that last race, 47-4 and 59-2. And another thing I'm going to do, I'm not sure what that quote was about history. Those who do not remember history are doomed to repeat it. But actually, in this case, I wouldn't mind them repeating it. Fairgrounds has at least in recent memory, I can think of 3 horses that have won multiple stakes on the way to either the Oaks or the Derby. International Star a couple of years ago won the Lecomte, the Risen Star, and the Louisiana Derby. Gunrunner last year won both the Risen Star and the Louisiana Derby. And on the Philly side, I'm a Chatterbox won the Rachel Alexandra, the Silver Bullet Day, and the Fairgrounds Oaks on her way. So for some reason, if you run well there, you obviously like it there. And you can thrive there. And it seems as if horses tend to repeat their good performances. And this last race was a good performance. Not a great performance, but a good performance. And I think the horse has room for improvement, being that he was off for 2 months before that last start. Again, bullet drills since. So again, if you're going to give me 6-1 on the horse that just won the Lecomte, I'll take it. 6-1 on Guest Suite. He would be my lone horse. I'll mention another horse that I like a little bit later in my own personal pick for. But for our show, I'm taking the 6 Guest Suite. I'm going to the window at 6-1. Right?
All right, to take advantage of that promotion, bet Guest Suite, and you know what? you get your money back, but at 6 to 1.
Unless he wins.
Excuse me. I'm with you, Joe. Guess sweet. Um, I like him. Winner of the comp. He's 3 out of 5 with 2/3. He keeps getting better. He's got good tackle speed. I don't think he have any distance issues. He's always in the race. You're gonna get Alvarado, Neil Howard. Yeah, he's a solid horse. I think he'll go a long way this year. He looks like he's good to run, and he has a type of style that he's always gonna be can't get into trouble. He's very versatile. So I look for him usually in a lot of these races coming up. I did like Motown before on top, but I did went to get sweet. Only because, like you said, Motown has not run over the track. And he's coming off a layoff. So in this spot, he may run well, but I'll include my ticket. But I'm really looking for Guest Suite to be on top on this time for a better price. Those are the only two I have in the Ridden Star. So, Rich, anybody else you like here?
Well, by now I'm hoping they've already seen the check mark.
Hmm.
So it's not often that the broke guys get any kind of unison. So I was on guest
There we
suite as
go.
well. So I've got the 6. He's won 3 of his last 4, and the one time that he lost was by a horse by the name of McCracken, who just happens to be undefeated. So no shame there. If I was going to back it up on my personal ticket, I can't afford to back it up because, as you guys heard, I was going 3 deep in the previous race. So on my personal ticket, I am going to single here. With guest suite. If I was going to back it up, I like the local hero at Fairgrounds, and in this case, I guess that's local hero. Steve Asmussen and Florin Giroux, I like that combination. And I don't like that combination just because they make me smile. I like that combination because they win a lot, 47% together. The horse is just coming off a maiden score, so this should be a tough challenge for him. But as you see there, he's got some serious talent. And again, Joe had mentioned that thing with the Fairgrounds. So I thought he was willing to take a stab, and I would put him on the underneath line only, though. Again, I'm singling with the 6 on top. I'd put the 3 underneath. I've got Ray with the 6 on top as well, and Joe with the 6 on top. All righty. And I will come on back.
50 points.
Oh, and just so that everybody's aware, there are 3 scratches out of that race. The 10 takeoff, the 13 it's your nickel, and the 14 so conflated are all. My understanding is they're all scratched.
Okay.
What was that, Joe? Let's see. It's your nickel.
10 takeoff, 13 it's your nickel, and the 14 so conflated. So conflated isn't even in Louisiana, so I know he's going to scratch. He worked at Santa Anita this morning.
There we go. All right. Just a reminder, that is one of TVG's guaranteed stakes races, so you have a chance to win your money back on your first $15 win wager. If your horse finishes 2nd or 3rd, you get your money back, and of course, if your horse wins, you get paid. I love that promotion from TVG. That's actually been one of the better ones for me, getting me back to betting with my TVG account. So
Yeah, we had fun the other week with that.
yeah, I know. Yeah, you and I together. All right, here we go into the finale. And this is race number 12. It's 1 mile on the turf, a claiming race, $17,500. The purse is $21,000, which includes $4,000 from other sources, plus $3,000 from the accredited Louisiana-bred slot supplement. It's for 4-year-olds and upward. 14 starters, and your morning line favorite at 9-2 is in post number 8. Sly Tom, trained by Joe Sharp and ridden by Brian Hernandez. 14 starters and a 9-2 morning line favorite. Ray, who do you like in the Fairgrounds finale?
Yeah, you just mentioned him, Sly Tom. Yeah, he ships here from the East Coast. He's been running in Saratoga, Belmont, Aqua, Gulfstream Park. So this is probably a class relief for him. Like the acronyms that we've been making these days, lately. He's a scary face from another place, right? He drops half his claim tag. He gets some good trips and runs well around this distance. And I like Brian Hernandez. He's a good jockey over there for the Midwest. And Joe Sharp, a good trainer. So I'll go with them. I do like Whiskey Biz, 10-1 for Actually, I'm sorry. The 13, he flashed 5-1. He was claimed and he won for 10,000. He jumps up in class and cuts it back in distance here. So Danny Fish, Jose Valvita, and they click at like 20%. So I mean, he's a good claiming trainer. And first off the claim is 20%. So it's just a hard knocking horse, 7 years old. So very claimable. He's been claimed like 4 times in the last like 8 races. I do like Whiskey Biz, Florent Giroux. I would love to hit the pick four with this horse because he'll be winging it at the front end, and get your program and start slapping when they're in front. This horse will be on the lead, and hopefully he can last. So those are my horses there. Not much of this race is analysis. Just pick those 3 horses, and hopefully you're still alive. The 8, the 6, and the 13. Joe, claim a 1 mile turf. I know you've been singing, so I think you need to go like 9 deep here, no?
No,
You get
no,
the all
actually,
button here.
actually
would.
for
I might modify my ticket.
for our purposes, I would only go 3 deep, and I don't really have to talk much about 2 of the horses because they're 2 of the same horses that you like. I like the 8 on top, Sly Tom. When you get a 9-2 morning line favorite, I don't know that it would be really hard for anybody to take a stand in this spot. But he, like you said, even running lines versus better at Gulfstream Park. Last 2 runs at a mile, he's been in the money. He shows 3 work since his last, and he's the most consistent as far as speed figures. So I don't see any reason why you have to include this horse. He's probably the best of the group, and I can understand why they made him the 9-2 favorite. I'm not sure how the new face from another place angle works at Gulfstream. I know it works out here on the turf, but at Gulfstream, I'm sorry, at Fairgrounds. At Fairgrounds, it may be a little different, but I think you have to include him. I like the 13 a little bit. He would be my 3rd choice in the race. He's the only thing that bugs me about the 13 is that number right there, the 13. If they all go, he's going to be closer to the grandstand than he's going to be to the rail around that first turn, and I would be really, really concerned that this horse isn't going to be 4 or 5 wide, either 4 or 5 wide or about 3rd or 12th or 13th in the race. And deep closers, as much as deep closers win on the turf, I don't necessarily like deep closers in 14-horse fields. But I do like him. I think he's a solid horse. I just don't know if that post isn't going to be something that he can't overcome. Heck, if California Chrome couldn't overcome the 12-hole at Gulfstream, 17-5 claimers are going to have to do a lot more than overcome the 13-hole at Fairgrounds on the grass. But the other horse I like in here is the 3, Control Tower. 8-1 on the morning line, if I remember right. He was victimized by a bad draw last time out and a questionable ride. He gets much better draw today. Okay, 6-1 on the morning line. Much better draw today. Bridgman won on this guy last year, February 19th, so about a year ago to the day. He was well bet in the return, 7-2. He would have paid $980 had he won. And he probably needed that race, but I saw the race. The ride was really questionable to me, and the fact that Bridgman gets back on and he won on this guy helps me. And one thing that does concern me about him is that he's at 8 years old. He did not have, at least it doesn't show any published works since that race. So I wonder if there's a question about fitness or not, but I'd be willing to take the chance. I think you may even get higher than 6-1, maybe drift up to 8-1. But again, this race is going to be wide open. Even the favorite's going to play pretty well in the pick 4. So my top 3 choices would be the 8, Sly Tom, 3, Control Tower, and 13, Heat Flash, in that order. Mr. Sharp, I didn't see your check mark. At least I don't recall seeing it. Where is it?
No, I was, and that just indicates, how tough I thought this race was. I really was lost on this one. I couldn't even settle on keeping the check mark in the same spot. I ended up beating the chalk one more time, which I'm not real thrilled about. So I did stick with Sly Tom. The Joe Sharp, Brian Hernandez angle. No, me and Joe Sharp are not related. But I did think the horse was showing a solid enough work pattern to go ahead and legitimize it. And 9 to 2, depending on what comes up on the actual line, we'll see how this horse plays on the morning line. I don't wanted to take a peek here at Fairgrounds because this is not a track that I'm used to playing. I just want to see how this profile plays a little bit. Yeah, I didn't think so. So only 36% playing to the early ones. This is not a track that you necessarily need to get to the lead early. And so I had liked the 8. I liked actually it was interesting because I heard Ray talking about Florin Giroux's horse a little bit, Whiskey Biz. And so I did like this horse a little bit. I like horses who are on the lead out there on the turf race. Now, he's not specifically talking about me being the guy who hits his program, but Joe will, let's be a witness to the fact that yes, Rich has done that. And so I had thought that Whiskey Biz had a little shot, but I only used the 8 here at this point in time. And anything else if I was going to fill out my ticket tomorrow when I finish up my pick 4 ticket is going to be underneath the 8. So this was a really tough race, folks. I thought Fort Davis with Miguel Mena, Wesley Hawley had a shot, and I thought King Ptolemy, who you didn't hear from, it was Tim Gleeshaw and Francisco Torres. So those are the horses that I all felt were within range, but nobody that I really felt strong enough that I was going to put that nice green check mark right next to him and sit there and say, yeah, this is where I'm going to put my foot on it. So I've got the 8. I've got the 6 underneath. Ray, I believe, has the 8. Ray, who did you have as well on that? You have the 6?
The 13 and the 6, yeah.
The 13 and the 6. And Joe, I believe, has the 8, the 13, and the 3.
Hey, Rich, I got a question for you. How could you not you like the Brisnet PPs, and how could you not use the number 1 horse, Prime Power, when you're using the Brisnet PPs? Come on, Swami Angle, you have to at least put that horse in there.
Oh, look at that. And no love from the Brisnet people as well.
Seriously.
Seriously.
You got
the 11th spot.
Prime Power. Come on. Come on. You have to use Prime Power. Don't, Rich, come on. If you play, you got to put an extra. You know what? However much it costs you, I'll give you the money. You better put Prime Power on your ticket.
Well, I'm saying this goes, and one day, as I've promised, at some point in time, we'll get a show where at least we give a little 2-minute segment to each of us. How we handicap and how we do it and things like that. But you can see here, my class handicapping, one of the ways that I handicap on class, is a byproduct of connections. And so even though I don't know anything about Fairgrounds, I really don't know anything about Richard Corale. And I have heard the name Marcelino Pedroza before. So I know he's got at least a little bit of talent there, but I couldn't put any kind of a mark on connections that I'm just so unsure of. Even though, as you saw here, I didn't have any problems ending up on, who was it? Brian Hernandez and Joe Sharp. So there it was. I'm looking for the connections there at the track. So I will come on back to you guys, and we're going to move on to our segment that we tried last week. All right, so I will go ahead and start working on our little template here for those of you who are wondering what's going on and putting together our pick 4. I'm going to bring up onto the screen the 2 analysts each have a pick 4 that they've put together for you. The maximum ticket that you can put, if anybody was wondering, because I forgot to put this out there. So the maximum we're going to top this one off is at a $50 ticket. And each Joe and Ray will present to you their individual pick 4 tickets. I can't say that we're actually playing these tomorrow, but the guys can let you know how they put them together. And I will go ahead and bring up the pick 4. Hold on one second. Let me just make sure I've got it up here on the. Google has a tendency to forget you if you leave it alone for too long. There it is. All right. Can you guys see that one?
Yep.
All right. And so last week, Joe got to go first. So Ray, you want to go ahead and take it away?
Yeah, my first pick for the pick 4, the first race, like the horses I did, like Shane's Girlfriend, Pharrell, and Valador, the pretty pricey horses that can be played. I did want to throw in Wicked Lick at 10-1. This horse been coming the stretch the last 2 Fairgrounds for the place. With Brian Hernandez, I rate this horse have a good upset chance, so that's why I put him in. And I went 4 deep in this race. The next race, Fairgrounds turf. I did go with the 2 Ramses, the 9 and the 5, and Western Reserve with the 8. With those three, I went 3 deep. I could modify it if I want to go deeper in the other legs. For single the 8, which the two broke guys other have convinced me that the 8's really strong. But for now, we're gonna have the 9 and 5 and the 8. And then in the Risen Star, I only settled on 2 horses, Guess Sweet and Motown. I did like Untrapped a little bit, but I had included him, but my ticket would have been $54, which would have been over the limit, so I took him out. But he ran a credible race in the second in the Lecomte off the layoff, so he should get a jump off the speed. He's worth a price. He's worth a shot at a price. So I'd just like to mention number 2, Untrapped. And the last race, we struggled with this one. Actually, this is the price I might modify to throw in that Untrapped. To take out one of these horses. But for now, I like the 8, Slide Time on top. Whiskey Biz is one of those speed horses who you hope to just keep on going. He does run well once in a while. His claimers can be on and off at times. I did like Key Flash also at 13. So that's my ticket. The 3256 with the 958 with the 69 and the 8613 for $36. All right, Joe, take it away.
Thanks, Ray. My ticket actually is modified to $32 because, as I mentioned earlier, the 10 in race 9 is out. And if I wanted to, I could modify race 8. I would probably add another horse in race 8 if I wanted to. But I'm going to stick with the $32 ticket. I'm going to mention the other horses that I didn't mention during the show. The one Untapped, I'm willing to forgive the last because it was in a mud start. It was in his first stakes race, and he was wide on both turns. Florent Giroux stays up for Steve Asmussen, and at 9-2 on the morning line, I mentioned forgiveness earlier this year, so I'm going to give this horse another chance. Forgive that last effort. Give him another shot that day, tomorrow. Shane's girlfriend obviously liked or loved Louisiana 2-back, and she was actually favored against Unique Bella last time out, and she's been working bullets at Santa Anita. She hasn't run over this track before, and she does get a new jockey in Gutierrez. Maybe Gutierrez has been working her in the morning leading up to this. That's possible. And if that's the case, then he knows her probably pretty well. So you'd have to throw her in just to make sure you get through race 7, or actually race 9. I'm sorry. In race 10, if I had to include a second horse, I did. Granny's Kitten and Western Reserve have kind of built their own little rivalry, and Granny's Kitten's going to be tough to beat. Like I said, I think Western Reserve is going to have his measure today. But again, drilling, working well, figure solid trip. And like I said, Western Reserve is the horse I'd really like, but I think this is the horse that she's going to have to beat. And if I was going to use Western Reserve to finish second underneath anybody, it would be Granny's Kitten, obviously. In race 11, the Fairgrounds, the Risen Star, I actually like the number 1 a little bit, and that's Gervin. The horse had a strong, I don't know, I'm assuming it's not named after George Gervin, the old San Antonio spur, because obviously it would be spelled Gervin. He had a strong debut sprinting. He matched his Beyer speed figure from that sprint in his turf debut, and I think he's got room for improvement. He's got he's got the rail. He's going to be able to save ground. And maybe, again, this is the Brian Sharp, Joe Hernandez. I reversed that, obviously. Joe Sharp, Brian Hernandez teaming up. So I think you have to use him underneath. And the other horse that I added in race 12 is the 12, Call Me West. He's returning very quickly after a short rest. He last ran on February 9th. Tomorrow's the 25th, so that's less than 2 weeks. And for an older horse, I think he's 8. That's a pretty positive sign for me. Solid furlong drill on the 20th. Robbie Alvarado gets on. And if he wins the prior race with Guess Sweet, he may carry the momentum with Call Me West. He had a solid his form was solid before the layoff. He drops in class a little bit, and his trainer is pretty solid on the turf. So I would add the 12 in race 12. Again, I don't like the draw. I'm hopeful that there may be some scratches that bring the 12 and the 13 inside from where they are. But 1, 2, 3, 5 over 5 and 8 over 1 and 6. Remember, scratch the 10 from the Risen Star, and 3, 8, 12, and 13 in the $17,500 claiming finale at the Fairgrounds. Rich, is our template ready?
I am already. Hang on one second. Oh my.
Awesome.
I get that all updated correctly.
All right.
Have I got that correct, Joe? 4 times 4, 2 times
It's
2.
It's actually 32.
That's correct, right? Yeah, 4 times 4 is 16.
It's a 32. It's a $32
Oh,
ticket.
$32 ticket. Excuse me.
4 by 4, 16 by 2 by 2. So it's 4 by 4 by 4, which is 64 by 50 cents.
All right. I got updated correctly. All right. Thank you, gentlemen. And I will
Welcome.
come back. And so far, due to some consensus there in race number 11, I believe we have a rather economical $13.50 ticket. Starts off with the 2, the 3, and the 5 in the opener. And then we've got the 5, the 8, and the 9 in leg number 2. Again, just a single there in the 11, race number 11, and 3, 8, and 13 in the finale.
Well, and if we go in with the consensus in race 12, well, I was the only one who mentioned the 3, and I remember.
Oh,
Rich,
true.
did you mention that you said something about the 6, but in your own personal ticket you were going just with the 8? Did you want to? Because
I think it's probably the other way around. I think in my own personal ticket, I'll probably go a little bit deeper like that. But for the purposes of our show, I only go with the 8 in this race.
Okay, because then I'm the only one who mentioned the 3. So
You were the only one. It's
yes.
true. You're the only one that's on the 3.
So we could even take that horse out and make it even more economic. More economical, sure. Wow, that's a low budget ticket, huh? Can't even get into the movies for that.
No.
Well, actually, a matinee you might
Play for $1.
Yeah, well, there you go. We could easily play it for $1 and play it 18.
Yeah.
So it's always so nice about those. If you have some conviction, you play those singles. All right,
Yeah.
You got that, Joe? 2, 3, 5 with 5, 8, 9.
Okay, if that's what we're going with, if everybody feels good about it, then I'm good.
The 6 with 8, 13.
Man, that's that. Jeez, have we played a ticket that small before? I'm trying to think if that might be a record for us.
I believe that's probably gonna be a record.
Wow, I feel like Les Onaka.
We're on the same page.
I feel like Les Onaka, baby.
The lower expense.
The good doctor.
That means the ROI would be up.
All right. Have you got that? Have you got that down?
Yeah, I have it, Rich.
We're getting played at pick 5. Let's go. Race 8. Go backwards. Boom. Get single somebody.
Why? We could probably hit the all button.
That's right. Yeah.
Just single anybody.
Pick 5.
Oh man, that's funny though. Like I said, that's.
We have a consensus.
Hey, that's a good deal. I'm good with that.
All right, so I gave one reminder about TVG and their promotion in the Risen Star Stakes. So you've got the win your win bet back if your horse finishes second or third, and also tomorrow you might want to check your email or check your text messages depending on how TVG communicates with you. They did give us a $10 free wager today for this weekend. So it's good through Sunday, if I'm not mistaken. So check your email or check your text messages, or like I said, check however it is that TVG communicates with you, and you might have a gift from them giving you a $10 free wager.
Wow, then that does that mean our pick 4 tomorrow is free? We actually making $1 on this deal?
I use all of those questions. Those are all win bets. As I alluded to earlier, mine should have gotten made right away. So.
Well, I mean, I guess we can discuss if we want to play it for $1 off the air, but that'll be between us.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. For those of you watching, if you enjoyed the show, we will be back next week because that's what the Three Broke Guys like to do. We'll be getting together to take another look at another exciting card, and this time we are going back to Gulfstream Park in Florida. Joe, it's the Holy Bull Stakes.
Oh, Fountain of Youth.
Oh, excuse me. Fountain of Youth.
Fountain of Youth?
Fountain of Youth, and about 8 other stakes.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll say, since we're saving money on this week's pick four, I'm guessing we may go a little bit deeper in next week's.
Okay.
But yeah, no, fair. Fountain of Youth next week, and basically pretty much every week from now until mid-April, we will have 3-year-old races every week, whether it's from Arkansas, Southern California, you name it, we'll be on it.
All right, gentlemen, that's all the time we have for tonight. It's always a pleasure to handicap with the two of you.
Yes, always a pleasure.
Smile never leaves my face.
For Joe English and Ray Torado, I'm Rich Sharp. Thank you for watching Three Broke Guys Handicapping. Good luck and good night.